Wow, can you believe it? I was on time. Well, sort of. Oh, man. I honestly just woke up like about an hour and a half ago. Good morning, you guys. I'm totally addicted to slushy water lately. Take a full full thing of water and ice and put it in the blender, and it's yummy. Well, we'll see if anybody shows up since have not been extremely reliable lately. Oh, there's Laura. Hi, Laura. You're a little Miss Reliable. Well, maybe it'll just be you and me. We'll see. We'll see what happens. How you doing? Chicken butt. Hi, Joan. How are you? You're here. Yay. Hi, Pepsi. Hi, Pepsi. Yep, just like old times, huh? I know. Hi, Deborah. How you doing? Oh my gosh, I got started watching that stupid Jeffrey Epstein series on Netflix. I should have known better. Kind of puts you in a weird mood, you know? I'm not going to be negative, I promise. Let's see if we can get a party started, huh? Yeah, I just woke up. Well, it's 5 o'clock here now, so I woke up about 3. Oh man, it's been such a weird last couple months. So I bought some more um 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 Reader's Digest covers since it's been rough for me lately getting out to thrift stores and whatnot. I haven't really been able to find many lately, but so I've got 8 of them. One of them's a Christmassy kind of cover. You did? I didn't. I didn't. My phone's been on silent for days, so thank you, Laura. I really appreciate it. Anyway, so I only have 7 covers that are not Christmassy. I don't know. Maybe I'll do the Christmas one anyway. But I had already kind of put these together with spines and stuff, and then I started thinking about it, and I thought it would be kind of cool to maybe cut them down and make them a little bit like narrower like that. And plus I didn't really like how I had done the spines, and I'm gonna bind them in a different way where I'm not binding through the spine. So anyway, so I bought, I think, 10 more off of Etsy, and so I'm waiting for those to get here. I love Johanna Basford, by the way. I've been working on my let me move this. I've been working in this Daydreams, this Hannah Carlson Daydreams coloring book. Oh, right on, Deborah. So this is the second copy of this one that I bought. This one's my favorite, and I just bought the new one too. I don't remember what it's called, but so I finished this little spread last night, and I thought it turned out pretty cool. I've been practicing my water droplets. What do you guys think? It's all basically watercolors, except for the water droplets. It's all watercolors and Inktense pencils. So there's that one. This one is totally messed up. I think I'm gonna do this background gouache. I decided that with coloring books, it's easier for me to get inspired to work on them if I do a background first. Do you know what I mean? Like, so I was practicing my like bokeh techniques on this one with soft pastels. And let's see. So I just did this one with black acrylic. Droplets of poop, whatever, Laura. You know what? It's really easy to do. And then I'm sort of still working on this one, this fish one. And those are my bubbles. I'm working on bubbles too. So anyway, let's see if there's anything else in here. So yeah, it's hard for me to get started on a page unless I do the background first. So I did this background, and then I've decided also, I think this copy of this book I'm gonna do all in water media. You guys want to see the other one? Well, too bad. I'm gonna show it to you anyways. This one has some weird stuff in it. This is the one that I used to take to work with me and work on it while I was on the phone. The colors and shade are yeah, it is relaxing. So like it's hard for me to, I don't know. I like using colored pencils, but so I did this little fox. But he needs a background, and I haven't been really that creative with backgrounds lately. So I'm doing this. So this is the same page where I did the fish, and then I'm gonna try to get this one done. This is Inktense pencils in the background too. And then let's see. Oh, I tried doing a face. I'm terrible with, well, okay, I can't say I'm terrible with faces, but I'm intimidated by doing faces and, human forms, which is part of the reason that I don't like her newer, not newer, but it's not really newer, but I don't really like the, which one is it that I don't like? Yeah, the Magical Dawn. And I don't really like this one. It's like it's all people. And I don't like the Magical Dawn one because it's all people and crystals, like gemstones. I had to get Adrian to teach me how to color gemstones. I've been away from lives in over 2 years. Aww. Oh my God, Amor Fabric. I cannot remember your first name. That's terrible. That's terrible. Gosh, I have a terrible memory. Anyway, so this one is all colored pencil. So, well, no, that's a lie. Those are all gel pens. But Selena. Okay. This was my first attempt at doing a cat. Oh my god, it's terrible. That is terrible. Anyway, so yeah, working in coloring books. It's fun. It is super fun. And I have lots and lots of coloring books. I've actually taken apart and used the pages in journals. A lot of my coloring books, some of my old ones. Um, some of the ones that I wish I still had now, because some of the coloring books that I had, like, 10 years ago, are out of print and sort of like collectible now and worth a little bit of money. Like I have this one, it's called Vertical Worlds, and I've seen it on eBay now for like $200. So, because it's like out of print and stuff, and people love it. Anyway, I'm glad you guys are here. Yeah, I miss the original peeps too. We're all the original peeps. I don't know why I'm saying I miss them, but there's so many that, are still here. So it's great. You know what I mean? Sort of the OGs. So in my travels down the watercolor road on YouTube, excuse me, I have found quite a bit of inspiration and some really cool projects. There's a lady, she's got a gazillion subscribers, but I can't remember her name. I'll try to link her channel in the if I get back to a description on this live stream, which I think I might. She's a watercolorist, but she has some really good ideas about things to do with like failed paintings, and one of the things that she does is a collage, like with cut up paintings and like swatch sheets and just like practice paintings and stuff like that. And so I was really inspired by that, and so kind of pulled out like all my old just things like this where I was just doing like color studies, value studies, and just playing around with watercolors on different papers, and cards that I'd made where they were going to be cards and they were turned into cards or whatever. Just things like this where I was maybe doing a background or just doodling or practicing something or other, and just put it all kind of together. And I sort of organized it a little bit by color. So these are all the ones that I thought were sort of usable on their own. And then, so these are like the smaller ones. And then I've been kind of going through and maybe adding some color on some things that like this was just a whole page of just butterflies and there was no color in the background. So I just did like a wash of like a graphitint paint, just adding some stuff to some of my pages. Like I thought this one would be cool just to cut out to use for flower centers or whatever. I think this is that like brush show stuff, those crystals that I was messing around with a couple weeks ago. And I want to do some sunflowers, and so Like these are just pages like this, right, where I was just playing around. And so I just painted on the back of them. You know, I mean, it's decent paper. There's no reason to throw it away. This is Arches paper. So, you know, just been adding color to them. And now, like, anytime I have paint left on my palette or whatever, I just pull out one of these papers and, you know, scribble that paint onto one of these. And then I've been kind of adding like some metallic watercolors and things like that. Like some of them are totally ugly and weird, but it's useful. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, so see, I have a whole stack of these were actually swatches of different like iridescent watercolors and stuff. So, but these are all like paintings that I can either paint on the back or whatever. So anyway, so been kind of also, and the other thing I did just to kind of help out with flower shapes and things like that, I just went through some of my books and used a my little light table thing. Where is it at? Here it is. This little guy. Turn it on. This lights up. Put it like, it's pretty thin. So if you put it like behind a page, and then you can just put like a regular piece of printer paper on top, and you can trace images. Even onto watercolor paper, you can see, you know, through even heavier papers. So I just kind of traced the outlines of petal shapes and leaf shapes, stuff like that, to then sort of practice drawing those shapes so that I can draw them onto those different colored papers in order to put together some more collages. So anyway, this is my little collection of different shapes of flowers and leaves and whatnot. Like a coneflower. Anyway, there's an iris. I really want to do an iris. I like to do mine. I think I like to do mine more sort of realistic. Like here's a pansy. So I'd like to try to get those done. And then this is a book that I have where I had pulled pages out of the book to use in journals. Anyway, so that's my little stack. But I was going through, just going through stuff, you know, and I found all of these distress crayons that I used to use years ago, and I just don't use them anymore. I don't know why. Well, I don't do like jelly plating, and you know, I don't do a lot of mixed media stuff anymore, and that was why I had these. And so they just kind of got, you know, put away on my gelatos and stuff. So I mean, I don't have that many, but these are starting to dry out, and I really don't want them to dry out. So I'm going to try to use them up on some of these papers. I thought we could just kind of hang out and do a little bit of that. Some of them are really, really dry though. I mean, I don't think any of them are even halfway used, you know? So I'm going to do my best. One thing I used to do, I remember, is use a baby wipe to sort of activate them. But I remember that that also kind of wipes a lot of color off. So I'm going to use them kind of thick, kind of heavy, because I want a lot of color on here. Yeah, Selena, you got me hooked on Cantha quilts. I bought a huge box of them from somebody in India. I think I got like 100 of them or something. And so I still have like probably 2/3 of them. I've been giving them away. I want to make some like pillows and bags and things like that with them, but I haven't ever really gotten around to it. Let's put some pink in here. Yeah, these things are really dry, like almost like actual crayons. They still activate, but I do think that these are like on their last leg, honestly. Oh yeah. And I'll let them dry and come back later and add more color to them. This one's got, oh my gosh, this is going to be a mess. Let me just add some red to this one. So you haven't been streaming for 2 years, Selena? Really? What have you been doing? I could probably do like some stencils or something on these too, like flower shapes or whatever. Let me try some of these. Oh my gosh, these things are really dry. So if you have any of these kinds of things just laying around, you might want to think about using them because they don't last forever. Just saying. I don't know if I would call it pretty, but it's definitely colorful. I know I shouldn't be using so many baby wipes, but it's either that or a paper towel. This one's actually not terrible, but nah, it's not really a masterpiece either. I'll just keep these ones over here until I can use them for those same color families. Know what I'm saying? I think these are a little bit more pigmented, honestly, than the distress crayons. I could probably go through a whole entire pad of paper trying to use these up. But at least I'll get something out of them, right? So these are oil-based, or no, wax-based crayons, basically. And it's kind of interesting what they do to make them water soluble. They add soap to them. Don't you think that's weird? I think that's so cool that they figured that out, you know? Oh, I gotta spray it. Yeah, I think that the gelatos are more pigmented than, or maybe I'm just using more of it, but Oh my gosh, what a mess. Now I remember why I used to have my desk covered all the time. If you ever notice that though, when you're playing with these types of crayons and stuff, sometimes they get like foamy, and it's because of the soap that's in them. I just thought that was really interesting. Like that's what water watercolor pencils, they actually have like soap in them. No, I don't have the fire going, Laura. I haven't been burning fires lately. I just I can't I'm basically living by myself, and I can't carry the wood in the house. It's just hard for me to get firewood in the house. So yeah. So I'm not going to do any more of those right now. I don't really feel like doing it, but I did want to show you guys kind of what, if you're, thinking about maybe doing something like this. This is what I've been doing. I've just been cutting out my shapes, like, sort of just like fussy cutting, and like I draw a bunch of leaves on a page. These ones I drew with a metallic gel pen or something, and then fit as many as I could on the paper. And actually some of them I was drawing them on the back of the paper so that I wouldn't be like tempted to make my leaves go on certain colors and stuff like that. Anyway, drew a bunch of leaves or flower petal shapes and stuff like that, and then just put them in a little container like this. And then when you feel like doing the collaging, then you have all your shapes already cut out. So I had some green paper left over, so I just cut out like blades of grass. Thought it'd be kind of fun. I did a bunch of eggs. Oh, that's a rock. But I did a bunch of egg shapes. That's not an egg, that's a rock. But I did eggs and rocks out of this one piece. And I really like the way the when I did those like color swatches, I really like the way the shapes turn out. I don't know, I just think they look cool. There's some flowers that I painted where I just cut out the actual flowers too, and those were kind of fun. But here's all my sunflower petals in here, and these I didn't even really draw out. I just, I mean, you kind of know if you just sort of study what those flower petals look like, then it's not hard to cut out the shapes. So anyway, I'm going to continue on that later. What I really feel like doing is working on my my swatch book. So if any of you guys are really into watercolors, or would like to maybe try doing watercolors on something other than paper, you totally can. And to do it, you can get, it's called watercolor ground, make clusters. Yeah, I don't have much in the way of cluster materials anymore. Not ready to go anyway. But you can buy, it's called a watercolor ground. And basically what it is like, it's sort of like a gesso for watercolor. And This is another thing that I really need to try to use up because it will dry out in the jar, and it wasn't like cheap, you know. See how it's drying on the lid here? Just like gesso will. So I got some black. I think I bought these about a year ago or so. Anyway, I have black, which is what I used on this book cover, and white. This is gold, and then this one is transparent. And I saw Lindsay, the Frugal Crafter, she did a little comparison of clear watercolor ground versus clear gesso on some book pages so that she could paint on the book pages, and basically determine that the clear watercolor ground was a little bit better than clear gesso as far as using it on book pages. But what it does is it prepares the surface. This has kind of gotten scratched up. It makes it sort of like a matte finish, but it prepares that surface to accept watercolor and not like so that it'll kind of behave like paper, like watercolor paper. It doesn't 100% behave like watercolor paper, but it's better than, you know, if I was to just try painting watercolor on the cover of this book. Like it wouldn't really work. The back of this is, I had painted this before with just acrylic paint, and the back is still kind of messed up, but I'm not going to worry about it until I'm done doing the front. And then the other thing that you'd want to do with this, like, because I'm going to do some metallic watercolors on the cover of this book. And then when it's all done, there's this stuff called, it's a Dorland's wax medium, and made by Jacquard. And a lot of people use this for gouache, when you work with gouache, like in a sketchbook, to seal your painting, so that it won't, like, because gouache will reactivate with water. Hi, Jessica. Gouache will reactivate even just with humidity. Sometimes it can kind of get a little bit tacky, especially if it's in a book where there's like two paintings that are smushed up together. So you can use like sealers, different types of sealers and that kind of stuff, but they might have a tendency, and some do have a tendency, to alter the color of the paint. So they made this stuff that is just a wax that won't it won't reactivate the paint when you like rub it on over the surface of your painting, just with like a makeup pad, like a cotton pad. And when it dries, it's completely sealed and water just beads up on it, and it's pretty cool. I haven't actually used it, but I did watch a couple of demonstrations with it, and it seems to work pretty well. I don't know exactly how durable it is, but I'm going to try it on my sketchbook once I get it finished. And I've just done black watercolor ground on the cover, and I just want to paint some rocks on this cover. Anyway, oh, and I wanted to show you guys. So, do any of you guys have like metallic paint pens that you buy and you think you're gonna love them, and then you use them, and then you put them away, and then you go back to them and try to use them, and they're all dried up, like Sharpies, for example? But I just wanted to show you guys, I found some metallic brush pens. And I think these are made by Kuretake. I'm not 100% sure, but I will find them. I bought them on Jet Pens, so I'll put them in the description. But all the writing on the pens is in like Japanese, so there's no way I can. Yeah, like I can't find the manufacturer anywhere. If any of you guys read Japanese, let me know. But all it says is Japan. That's the only thing I can read. Anyway, but these things are great. Like I bought them over a year ago, and every time I pull them out, all I have to do is like press this little button and they work perfect. So they're starting to make more paint pens with these push buttons at the ends. And I think that's the way to go with paint pens, to be honest, because these are the only paint pens I have that I can still get to work reliably without like really fighting with them. Like I bought the entire set of fine tip Thule art pens, which I mean, there's like 200 of them or something. And I think I spent like $160 or something on all of them. And I you know, of course, like, because when you first get them, you want to try them out, so you activate them all and you get them all ready. I did a couple little projects, put them away, stored them on, you know, horizontally and everything. Well, I pulled them out like a couple weeks ago, and like half of them are dried up, and it just really pissed me off, to be honest. So I spent a couple days like fighting with them and pulling out the nibs and soaking the nibs, and you know, anyway, and I got some of them to work. But yeah, so if you're looking at paint pens, get the kind that have these push buttons at the end, because what it does is like you push it and it pushes the paint out rather than relying on gravity to, you know, anyway, just saying. So I told you guys that I was gonna show you a lot of my last time I live streamed. I wanted to show you guys my Fine Tech and Coliro watercolors. So I thought I would pull them out and use those on this cover. So I get these little metal tins on Amazon, of course, and then I just glue a magnet on the bottom of the little paint pan, and then they just stick, and I can rearrange them however I want and take them out, put them back in, whatever. So Fine Tech and Coliro used to be the same company, and I can't remember. I think Fine Tech was the original company, and for some reason, like probably maybe some people were partners in the company or something, and they split up, and there was another. Oh, I just saw Selena's message. Bye, Selena. Thanks for popping in. I really appreciate it. Anyway, it's a long, boring story, but in case you're looking at, you know, buying like these metallic watercolors, they come in these tins like this, and you can find them on Amazon. Well, most of them are Fine Tech. It is what it says the brand is, right? But then sometimes these other ones pop up, and they're called Coliro, Coliro. And it's confusing because they have like a lot of the same colors, you know. But then I started kind of like diving into it, and I was like, how come there's these two companies that have the same colors? Well, and well, really what it was how come some of them are round and how come some of them are rectangular? That was my original question. And then I discovered that the round ones in the white pans are the Coliro ones. Well, a lot of the colors are the same. Like they have the same names and everything. And but then some didn't. Anyway, it was weird. So basically what happened was they split up. Coliro said, well, you know, we own these colors, and Fine Tech couldn't like prove that they didn't or something like that. Anyway, so Coliro went ahead and started manufacturing paints and manufacturing the same colors. And then I think they eventually renamed them or something like that. Anyway, so, but then Coliro started making more colors, like different colors. So there are some overlaps with the two companies because I thought, okay, I'm going to get all of the Coliro colors and all of the Fine Tech colors. And that way I can say I have a full set because I have like this full set syndrome thing. Anyway, it was really confusing, but I think I did pretty good. I got the guy at Spokane Art Supply to help me put him together. So I wound up with, and this was an investment. I'm telling you, not just in time but money because, oh, so the Coliro watercolors, the paint, the single colors, you can buy them at Jet Pens. They have all of their the Coliro ones. I don't think they have Fine Tech though. Anyway, so I split them up into color families, and this is what we wound up with. So we have reds and oranges. No, oranges and yellows, blues and greens, pinks, purples, reds, and then this one is greens and the flip-flop colors. So they also have, I know this is probably really boring and I'm totally nerding out on this, but Fine Tech has two different like lines or two different ranges of colors that they make. They have premium colors and then they have like regular colors. And some of the premium colors are like twice as much money as the regular colors. And I think it's because of the pigments that they use. But anyway, in their premium range, they have these flip-flop colors where they're like a color shift. So like they go from like green to purple and you know that kind of thing. So you guys know what color shift is. Anyway, and then this is like silvers. They're like whites and silvers. There are a couple of like white golds in here. And then golds. And then these are like ghost colors. So they're the ones that really only show up really well on black. They pretty much look white any other time. So yeah, so that's the story. Anyway, I don't even know how many there are altogether, but look at all the golds. It's crazy, huh? It's crazy. So I'm just going to go through these one pan at a time. And I'm going to try to paint. I'm going to try to paint every color on this cover. I don't know if it's going to work, but I'm going to give it a shot. Best thing to do is to kind of activate all of them, if you plan on using most of them anyway, ahead of time. They're beautiful watercolors. I'm going to use this little filbert, maybe this brush. They're very creamy and like smooth and highly pigmented, like much more pigmented than pretty much any other metallic watercolors that I've tried. Definitely more than the Kuretake ones. But I do have to say, I have these ones that I bought off of Etsy. And the name of the company is Iule. It's Iuile. And she has some gorgeous metallic watercolors. And I know it's like everybody and their brother is making like metallic watercolors these days, but I'm addicted to them. I'm not going to start making them though, because if I start making them, then I'll really go off the deep end. You know what I mean? And I think I have enough. So I'm just going to do like a little rock shape. So if you use this watercolor ground, it's best to do like 2 coats or like one relatively thick coat. And then let it dry for at least 24 hours before you paint on it. But it's so pretty. I'll hold it up here in a little bit and show you how sparkly they are. You could use the Dr. P.H. Martin's inks also, like in the same way. I usually make my rocks a little bit bigger than this. Let me show you one of the other ones that I did, just so you can kind of see where I'm going with this. This is what I've been doing with rocks. This is what I'm talking about. This one is all, these are all gouache. It goes like this. They're just super fun. There's cat hair on that one. See, just rocks. It's my rock series. Anyway, so that's what I'm going to try to do on the cover of this book. Usually I draw them out first, but I'm going to try to just do it like this. I'll show you some of these, what they look like after they're dry. This one is kind of cool, actually. It's got gold in the center, and then it's silver. See the little heart in the middle? And then it's silver around the outside. It's kind of neat. It comes out like a white gold, kind of. You probably could get away with just using black, like acrylic paint too. Because I've seen people do like rock paintings. I think there's like a girl on YouTube, her name's Kelly, I think. She does rock painting, and she uses a lot of these metallic watercolors. And she just uses black acrylic paint, but then she does resin over the top of them. So I don't really think I can resin the cover of this book. So I was thinking, as I've been going through stuff, I opened a couple of drawers and was shocked to see how many book pages I have. Like cool book pages though, like from really neat old books, like ones where I couldn't possibly bring myself to just, throw them away or whatever. But I literally have 2 filing cabinet drawers full of book pages. So there's no way in HE double hockey sticks I'm ever going to use all those book pages. But I can't just, you know what I'm saying? Like, anyway, so I was thinking that some of you guys might want some. And so I thought I could maybe sell them cheap, like by the pound or something like that. And so yeah, so I thought maybe I could do book pages by the pound, like $10 a pound or something like that. I know that doesn't sound super cheap though, does it? But a lot of them are like old French books, like foreign language dictionaries, botanical books, stuff like that, like really cool old books. And I could ship them media rate, so like that would include shipping. So anyway, I haven't put any bundles or anything like that together because I just thought about it a couple days ago. And not only that, I hate putting together bundles and then nobody wants them. So I thought I would see what you guys think first. So if you're interested in a book bundle, like a pound of book pages from my collection, send me an email and let me know how many pounds you want. And I'll send you an invoice. And I think I might also do that with like fabric, not necessarily scraps, but you know, like boxes of fabric. Like maybe fill a priority box with fabric for a flat rate. I was thinking like $30 or something like that. For like a big assortment of fabrics, you know, with like chenille and cantha and flour sack and quilt top and that kind of stuff, you know, and trims like laces and trims and whatnot. No salad. Don't do salad anymore. Anyway, so this is how they're kind of turning out. And I'm going to completely cover this. I know it looks terrible on camera, but I'm going to completely cover this with little rock shapes. And eventually I'll have to like squeeze them in, you know, but I'm going to go through all of these paint pans and just do a rock in each shape or in each color. And this will sort of be like my, because this is my swatch book. So this will kind of be like my swatches of Calero and Fine Tech watercolor paints. Chenille is your weakness. Yes, I know it is, Laura. Laura, if you just want some chenille, I'm happy to accommodate that. If that's what you want. So let me know. Send me an email. Do you have my email address? Does anybody need my email address? It's silver oranges at zoho.com. In case anybody needs it. And then I thought, well, I could do so many beads and charms and things to make charms with. I thought maybe I better put those together as bundles. Put some of that. I'm just really trying to cut down on the quantity of stuff that I have, you know, because I would kind of like to move my studio area. You have too much already. I hear you. I'd sort of like to move my, did I do that color? Yeah, I think I did. Move my studio area into another room. And kind of, excuse me, reclaim my living room. Excuse me, sorry guys. I'm choking to death. This is the only real yellow that's not gold. There's oranges. Dying. Anyway. Oh yeah, that's a good idea. I made a bunch of pillow covers out of chenille. It wasn't like vintage chenille though. It was like newer chenille, um, which is different. You know, it feels different. It's not as soft as the old stuff is. And the old stuff is all cotton usually. And the newer stuff sometimes it's not. Oh no. Oh God, Jessica. You know, I was thinking about that. Like, you know, I don't know if anybody remembers me saying that. Um, how I've been so tired and stuff lately, and that, you know, it's related to my recent type 2 diabetes diagnosis. Um, but I was thinking about it and I was like, I wonder if maybe I had COVID at some point and I just didn't know that I had it, you know? Because I know people who, I mean, I know that that's a thing, you know, people have it and they don't know they have it and whatever. Anyway, have you had it, Jessica? So crazy, isn't it? And then how come everybody keeps getting it over and over and over? Like, I mean, I get it. Like, I know it mutates and stuff, but I don't know. It just seems like I've never had it, knock on wood, and that I know of. And but I've also had all my vaccinations and I never go anywhere either. Like, I don't know. That could be part of it. And you had all your vaccinations? Yeah, see. They say that if you're vaccinated that um it helps it not be so bad or something too. Like yeah, kids are gross. That's true. That's true. I know you probably see them sometimes and just be like, "Oh my god, you guys are so nasty." See, it's coming together, huh, guys? Just imagine when the whole thing is full of little rocks. It's gonna be so pretty. It's gonna be pretty. What? How old are kids that you teach, Jessica? Oh, high school. What do you teach? I think I've asked you this before, but I don't remember. I always wanted to be a teacher. I always thought it would be a really cool profession, and it's so like undervalued and underappreciated by most parents, I think. It's like I think a lot of parents, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think a lot of parents just really take teachers for granted, you know, like they act like the teachers work for them or something. I don't know. It's weird. Science. Oh, right on. I always thought it would be fun to teach history. Just because of the stories that you could tell with history, you know. Um, but teaching science, I bet there's a lot of that too. I was never that great in science. I did have one science teacher that I liked in high school, Mr. Peterson, at East High in Denver, Colorado. Hi, Mr. Peterson. I always thought he was really sexy too, but he was the track coach. Anyway, I liked learning science from him because he made it funny. You know, like he was funny and he was cool. You know what I mean? Like he wasn't like an asshole, if you know what I mean. um and then my other favorite teacher at that school, which that was pretty much the best experience I ever had in school, was at that school. Um, was I can't remember his name though, but it was my algebra teacher, and I learned so much from him because he was just um, very organized and set his expectations, and you just didn't really deviate from those expectations, you know. And it was like we had the same routine every day, and it was really helpful. So, and he had good control over his class because he didn't screw around. You know what I mean? Anyway, yeah, I don't know. I guess I always appreciated my kids' teachers. I mean, I'm not saying I'm the only parent that appreciates teachers, but just after, you know, some of the other parents that I've known throughout my lifetime have really not been very nice to some of their kids' teachers. And I just thought, you know, I don't know. I think they're just undervalued. This is definitely not something you do because you want to get rich. But I always appreciated them. Always appreciated teachers because they don't they don't do what they're doing because for any other reason than out of love, you know, love of learning and sharing and of the kids, and you know, anyway. I remember one time I had a conference with my oldest son Conrad, when he was in first grade, and I had a parent teacher conference, you know. And I just remember, like, I think I've told this story to you guys before, but I just remember, like, one day I was sitting at the table doing some beadwork or something, and I was really into doing beadwork back then. And Conrad came home from school and came in the house, and I had the mail sitting on the table that had come that day, and I had gotten a letter or a card or something from somebody, and he picked it up and started reading it to me. And I was like, when did you learn how to read? You know? And hello, Gray. Welcome. Welcome. I was like, when did you learn how to read? You know? I mean, it just blew my mind because I didn't teach him how to read. I mean, I read to him and that kind of stuff, but he just like started reading this letter to me. And then I remember a few weeks later having his, parent teacher conference, and I was like, thank you so much, like, for teaching my son to read. Like, I don't even know how you did that. It was a miracle. Anyway, I mean, I was in tears because I just appreciated it so much, It's like, how did you do that? It was just, I don't know, it seemed amazing. Anyway. Of course, she was crying because I was crying, and we were all crying. Oh, Hero. Right. Oh, okay. Sorry, Hero. Hero? Regret that you weren't more into history. Yeah, I know. I I love watching historical documentaries and that kind of stuff. And I went and saw Napoleon. Have any of you guys seen Napoleon? I was I'm not gonna say it was like a riveting flick. It wasn't exactly riveting, but but I did learn something about the French Revolution, which I thought was kind of fun. Anyway, I recommend, if anybody plans on watching Napoleon, study just a little bit about the French Revolution before you watch it. So yeah, I am learning how to bind books in a more, how should I say it, more sophisticated sort of way. And I'm pretty excited about it. I told you guys my son Adrian and I are gonna, did I already do this color? I hope not. We're gonna make some notebooks or some sketchbooks together. And he doesn't know it yet, but he's gonna learn how to bind the books too. I'm not doing all the binding. I discovered he's really good at cutting paper, though. I know that sounds silly, but to cut paper accurately for books, it takes a certain amount of skill and concentration. See, it's filling in. I just remembered. So this is another notebook that it's just a craft notebook that I painted with. I put white watercolor ground on here, and I'm just working on doing like a negative painting kind of thing on there. And it's really cool. Like, it's really nice to work on because it has a lot of like tooth, you know. Anyway, and then this is the gold watercolor ground. Just did like a little floral thing on there. I had drawn this pattern on this notebook and wanted to cover it up because I hated it. But I've only done one coat of the watercolor ground on this one, and I think I need to do another one to cover that up. Or I could just leave it and try painting it again, but I'm afraid that I'll really hate it again. So anyway, and then I just did the front and back of this one. So yeah, it's fun. And you can use it on anything, like glass, wood. A lot of people use it on wood, like if they want to paint like wood slices, you know, or I don't know, like if you want it, like I use some on those little optician's lenses, the clear watercolor ground, and it sticks to it really good. So I kind of like this brush better. I always leave these open to dry. Otherwise, I'm afraid they'll get yucky or something. Like, I don't know. I don't know if they'll mold, but it could happen. Then once I get done doing all my rocks, I'm going to start, once I get this filled in pretty well, trying not to set my hand in anything that's wet, but once I get this filled in pretty well, I'll go back and kind of like do some in the background. And I might have to draw those in, but see how some of them are like how they look like they're overlapping. And like see the little tiny ones and stuff. I'll go back in and draw in more little rocks. And then I'll seal it with that Dorland's wax. I need to do some bigger ones, some bigger rocks, I think. It's just fun. I mean, it's kind of like working in a coloring book. But and I always imagine it from above, that, you know, rather than looking at rocks like laying out on a beach, like I always imagine that I'm just looking straight down at them. And this is a fun thing to do if you have like, and you wouldn't have to use any kind of watercolor ground or anything, but like if you have paint pens that you need to use up, which I do, this is a good way to use them up. Oh, there's also some, I just remembered, there's also a couple of black ones. This is a duplicate and so is that one, but there's two black ones too that are like metallic. Just saying. And then they have, I don't work for Fine Tech, but they also have neons. That coloring book page that I showed you guys, that very first one with the lily pads and then the fish, I used a lot of neon in that page. It's fun. Like, I don't know, I don't usually like neon that much, but it's kind of cool to use in certain situations. When I do these rock paintings like this, it always makes me think about the river where we used to go and go camping, and we would float down the river and stuff in the summer. Out in Idaho, it was the North Fork of the Coeur d'Alene River, and I just remember how beautiful the rocks were in that river, and they were all different colors. I mean, there was purple ones and green ones, blue ones, orange, all different shades. I mean, just beautiful rocks. I mean, I used to like come home with like my trunk full of rocks. Like I'd have to actually take some out before I could drive home because I'd have so many rocks in my car. Anybody that came with me, I'd always fill their car with rocks. My mom still has a whole bunch of them out here in the backyard. And there was one, this huge rock that was out in the middle of the river, and there was no way I could have gotten it. But I remember I told Adrian about it. We were here on a river in a van. Yeah. Anyway, I remember I told Adrian about this rock and how I really wanted this rock. And him and two of his friends went out there and actually got it for me for Mother's Day one year. It was really cool. It was really cute. It's still here. It's out in the front yard. And I remember my mom and I actually got in an argument about that rock one time because I was moving out of here. We were kind of in an argument, like really in a serious argument, my mom and I. And I was moving out and I was going to take my rocks with me. And I was trying to get one of the kids to, which they weren't kids, but older kids. I was trying to get one of them to, okay, so I'm going to kind of overlap on this one here. Anyway, I was trying to get them to help me get that rock. And she came out and she was like, "You're not taking my rock." And I was like, "That's my rock." Couldn't believe we were fighting over a rock, but it is my rock. Just saying. I don't think I've seen that Saturday Night Live. I never really got into Saturday Night Live. I used to watch it long time ago, back when like Belushi was on it and stuff like that, like way back in the day. And the other thing that I have never really gotten into or seen even was Rocky Horror Picture Show. I remember even back when I was in grade school that like my friends would go and watch Rocky Horror Picture Show. I guess I can't believe their parents. Oh, smoking doobies. I can't believe their parents would let them go. Anyway. So once I get all these rocks in here, I'll come back with a paint pen or maybe just with a brush and some of that black paint, black watercolor paint, and just kind of outline all of them and maybe put in a little bit of shadow. Anyway, this is boring, I know, but this is what I'm into at the moment. And I'm waiting on my Reader's Digest books to come. Actually, they're just the covers. I think it was actually Joyce's Etsy shop. I'm not 100% sure. Joyce Bergthold. Yeah, I've never watched it either. I've seen pieces of it, bits and pieces, but I've never seen the whole thing. This is a pretty green. It's one of my favorites. Pretty fun, huh? I think I'm going to sign off here in a minute, you guys. But I definitely wanted to follow through and come on and stream for a little bit like I promised I would. And I will try to do it again soon, sooner than later. I'm still going to try to do a video and show you guys how I made those boxes that the little notebooks came in, you know. And but I need to get some bigger craft cardstock. So I need some 12 by 12 craft cardstock. So I need to get to Hobby Lobby somehow one of these days and get some because I really like their heavier craft cardstock. It works really well for projects like that. So I was going to do it with watercolor paper because it's also heavy, but I don't want to use my watercolor paper like that. So I could maybe use some of these ones that I've been painting. But yeah, I still want to do that. And then I'd like to show you guys kind of what I've been learning as far as binding. Because it's pretty cool. Like, it's really not as difficult as I thought it was going to be. Kind of like traditional book binding. I have a couple of books on book binding, and I just thought it would be kind of fun to kind of go through that book and learn some of those methods, you know. That's where I figured out about the accordion books and that kind of stuff. There's a whole bunch of, you know, little like artsy sort of books that you can make that don't even require any stitching or anything. So anyway, yeah, I think I'm gonna sign off, guys. I need to go get something to eat. My stomach is getting angry. Hi, Jules. Julie's. Julie's flat. Jessica's not flat. Oh, Julie's flat. Is that like your apartment or something? Let me do these two last greens that are in here. Okay, guys. Any questions? Anybody have any questions before I go? Before I hang up? Excuse me. On a river in a van. Okay, guys. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go heat up some chili. All right. I love you. Have a good night. Good night, all. I love you guys. Bye for now.